Hello everyone, welcome to the Nürburgring, the Grand Prix course. After two very exciting over races last week at Texas Motor Speedway, it is time to kick off the road course section of the campaign. So it was Pogado and O'Sullivan who won last week's races. Let's see if the running order is going to be shaken up here today. So we were supposed to have Mike Wayne Robertson here with us today, but unfortunately he is not feeling too well, so he will not be here tonight. We wish him a speedy recovery from COVID. But welcome everyone here for two 12-lap races. One race will be in the middle of the day and one race will be late in the afternoon. The starting grid for race 1 will be the qualifying results, and the starting grid for race 2 will be the results from race 1 with a top 10 invert, and there will be no pit stops during both of these races here today. So let's dive into qualifying here in just a second, as we are currently watching a few drivers in the pit lane. But nobody at the moment choosing to go out. Probably waiting for the skies to open a little bit, because as you can see right about now, it is overcast. And that's going to really play into these tire warm-up procedures for all these drivers. You can see Rogenbach here waiting on pit road. It's very important to get the tires up to the normal operating window here, because the track temperature is very cold. It is 21 degrees Celsius. And for those who are not familiar with the IndyCar, the Nürburgring, even the Grand Prix course, is an absolute pain to drive on cold tires, because it takes so long for the tires to warm up, especially in the first sector. So add in the cold track temperatures and you are basically going to be driving on ice. So let's see what kind of times these drivers can pull out of their heads here in the final 3 minutes. Now remember, it is a one-shot qualifying session, so that means that all these drivers get one single lap to set their best lap possible for the starting grid. And I'm going to keep an eye out on Luis Nunez here especially. Last week, Luis was right at the front of the field and had incidents in both races. So it will be interesting to see how he rebounds. Knowing Luis for a short period of time, I think he's going to get his head down pretty quick and get on with it. But one of the drivers to watch for sure, as he is also one of the drivers racing in the Butt Kicker series. As you can see the branding on his car. And I should also probably enable the audio here for the stream. Pretty good idea. So 2.5 minutes to go. Luis Nunez is going to start his first and only flying lap here of the session. Let's go on board with the nose cam here of the Nexus eSports driver. As you can see, turn 1, very sharp downhill corner. Back uphill here for turn 2. Off camber corner here, very difficult to get on the power. And you can visibly see the understeer in the car as well on these cold tires. But right about now, I would say the tires are going to get up to temperature. Got to be careful with an off track there, but I think he is okay. Coming to the end of the first sector here. As it's looking to be a pretty tidy lap here by Luis Nunez. One minute 50 seconds left on the board as he goes into the hairpin. Now you can take a very different line than what you would expect. It's very possible to take an early apex and exit late, or you can do the complete opposite, enter late and exit low. There's no real way where that hairpin is faster, because it's a symmetrical corner as well, pretty much. So yeah, you can throw it in or you can throw it out, whichever way you like. But into the back straight, as Jarno Kausch goes provisional pole with a 1:37.320, as Nunez slows it down here for the chicane. One of the primary overtaking opportunities here today, as he will come around with 1 minute to go to complete his one and only lap. Mathieu Levine goes up to second. Luis Nunez, is it going to be pole? Yes, it is, with a 1:36.6. 7/10 clear. Oh, it is 7/10 clear of Jarno Kausch, as that is a pretty impressive lap here. Karel Stout goes up to 4th quickest, 1.3 seconds back. Tijn van der Velde also across the line to complete his run. Let's see if we can spot any cars out on track. There is Darren Machapunga, and I'm just going to keep calling him DM like I did last week, because that name is very difficult for me to pronounce. Jack James up to the top 5 and Patrick Silvassi to the 4th spot for Team Watson Racing. Here is Alaric van den Bos also on his qualifying lap. He's got 5 seconds on the board though, so I doubt he's going to finish this one in time. And yes, there you have it. So that is going to conclude qualifying. And we will dive into the race very, very shortly here. So whilst we do wait one brief second, here are the championship standings entering the race. It is Liam O'Sullivan and Carol Stout 1-2 level on points going into the race. Kyle Gretsch is sitting in the 3rd spot. We've got Robin Pogado and Jarno Kausch for KP Racing rounding off the top 5. Now we have Alaric van den Bos with a great top 5 in race 2 last week in 6th. And then Patrick Silvassi completes that top 10. So we will have a standing start here for this race, as we will on every single road course. So here is the starting grid for today's opening round. And as we covered, Luis Nunez on the pole, Jarno Kausch second on the front row. Then we have Mathieu Levine and Patrick Silvassi on row 2. Jack James, Carol Stout, row 3. Robin Pogado and Tijn van der Velde on row 4. Liam O'Sullivan and Jakub Olsen completes the top 10 on the 5th row. Moving on to the next page of the grid. On row 6, we have Alaric van den Bos and Pim van Gastel. Alexander Rogenbach, Nodibe Emmel, Machapunga, Gretsch and Cottam completes the grid. Getting ready to go for 12 laps here at the Nürburgring Grand Prix course. Not the Nordschleife. As we are just waiting for the final few cars to grid. So let's get this show on the road. Again, flying solo, wishing Mike Robinson a speedy recovery from COVID. But glad we could have 17 cars on the grid here today. And we are off and running. Luis Nunez does not get a good start whatsoever. And there's Jarno Kausch immediately pouncing to the lead as we go into turn 1. Luis Nunez taking a quick look. But nothing more than that. Let's watch the chaos in turn 1. Very tight corner as the 2 front row sitters are going side by side. Luis Nunez around the outside cannot pull it off. But he is still right there. Jarno Kausch on the inside going to hold on to the position for now. 3 wide in the background for just a brief second as Patrick Silvassi maintains that 4th spot. Bit of scuffling in the background. With Jarno Kausch up to the lead of the race. And there is Mathieu Levine around the outside of Luis Nunez as well to take over that 2nd spot. So Luis Nunez drops 2 spots from the drop of the green. And there's already trouble in the background for Robin Pogado, last week's winner in race number 1. As we go to Jack James here, running in the 5th position, I believe. Let's bring the timing tower up. 6th position. Oh, there's one car going off. Is this Carol Stout? There's Tijn van der Velde going for a spin in the background. Probably a bit of a lack of practice there by Tijn. As we know, not one of the drivers who puts in too much practice for these races. He just likes showing up and is already showing by a lap 1 error. But he drops down to 13th position. In all the foggy conditions. Hopefully the skies do clear up a little bit for race 2 later in about 30 minutes. As 1 car up ahead going off the track. That is Oliver Cottam. Diving down into the pits. But back up to the front few positions. There is Luis Nunez to the inside of Mathieu Levine. Down the front straight. To the inside, and it's a pretty simple move. Pulls it off and gets back up to P2 as Levine does challenge him into turn 2 there. But unable to come back at him. So move Levine back to 3rd and Luis Nunez up to 2nd again. 3 drivers in the pits. Nodibe Emmel, Liam O'Sullivan and Robin Pogado had damage as well. As that is 1 car exiting the pits. And I believe that is Oliver Cottam. So let's take a quick look at all these incidents that happened on the first lap, if we can find them. In the meantime, though, Carol Stout is right on the back of Mathieu Levine as well. So very quickly, let's take a look at what happened to Robin Pagano. That is already where he lost his wing. Let's see if we can find it. Might be a long ways back. We'll just ignore that then for now, as we try to find the right replay. Very difficult to do sometimes with these overlays, as they are very complicated. So back to the action. Jarno Kausch 8/10 clear of Luis Nunez. And another 8/10 to Mathieu Levine. And 4/10 to Carol Stout. The top 4 on the push to pass. Now you get 200 seconds to burn during the race. So that's plenty to use. And unlike in other championship cars, like the Super Formula for example, push to pass is pretty much unlimited within the 200 second range. You can use it at any time you want. There is no cooldown or anything. You can just use it as you please as long as you are 100% on throttle. So on board here with Carol Stout. So Vasi here, a bit of a delay on the initial turn-in. So let's go back here to lap 2. If we can find what happened to Liam O'Sullivan, because he did go off the track here. So yeah, we are going to find these replays real quick. So here's Liam, behind that 3 wide situation here, and there's contact for just a brief moment. Oh, and yeah, that is Pagano getting on the brakes, avoiding an accident, and Liam going for a big flip. That is 100% day done there for a good points finish, as Liam trying to get back on the track but struggling. Here we go, battle for the lead. 2.5 tenths between Jarno Kausch and Luis Nunez. Both on the push to pass. Is Luis going to go for a late send? Yes, he is. Late on the brake, sends it in. Can he slow it down though? Jarno going to attempt a crossover. Going to get the position back for just a brief moment, but he's on the outside line here. Remember, off-camber corner. Very tricky to hold it around the outside, but he is managing it. Still side by side here for the lead of the race. And Jarno gonna run him out of road a little bit. Still side by side. What a beautiful battle here. Neck and neck these two go into the end of the first sector. And Luis Nunez gets it on the inside. Back into the lead of the race on lap 4 of 12 on race number 1. As Mathieu Levine right in the mix as well now. Levine, teammate to Will Lyon, who is not here this week unfortunately. But those two ran in the PMRL IndyCar Series and absolutely dominated on the SMS racing team at the time. Both of those guys very avid fans of the Project Cars franchise and anything Ian Bell does in game development. There's a big reason why Will, for example, has a bald head as a profile picture. So Liam pulling it back into pit lane. Machapunga running in the 8th position. So he did gain a few positions off the start of the race. So back up to the front of the field, Mathieu Levine right in the slipstream along with Carol Stout. Kausch feeling the need to go defensive slightly. And I love this camera angle, it really shows the speed at which these guys do take such a slow corner, in fact, because it is so tight. But these red tires and these IndyCars have a lot of mechanical grip, which makes for the best racing, as you can see right here. These guys able to follow very closely indeed, and yeah, the top 5 is within 3 seconds of each other, and on a road course on lap 5 that is a pretty impressive feat. Most of these guys in the field, very experienced road course racers. Some of them more familiar with ovals, like Kyle Gretsch, currently running in the 10th position. As Alaric Vandenbos is currently running in the 9th position. about 8 tenths back from Machapunga, so if he can keep up with him, I think he's going to be in a pretty decent shape. Back to Van der Velde here. Sizing up Kalgretz to the inside here. Into the back chicane, leading on to the back straight, and Kalgretz goes really wide, and that is the top 10 again for Tijn van der Velde after that earlier mistake. Luis Nunez pulling away though at the front of the field from Jarno Kausch. The gap is almost 1 second now, but Kausch is able to keep Levine behind him pretty well. Probably just managing the tires a bit for the end of the race. And Pagano is back out on track, but currently running in the 15th spot. Not sure anything else is really going to come from his race, but eager to get the laps in preparation for race number 2. Oh, bit of grass being kicked up there by one of the cars. Look at how deep Levine is breaking into those corners, especially into the chicane. Just really closing up that gap. And it wouldn't surprise me if this is going to be a done deal at the end of this straight. There's Levine. Kausch going defensive all the way to the pit wall. Almost anyway. Kausch going to keep the inside line. Levine going to do the crossover here. We've seen it work earlier in the race with Nunez. And look how close Levine is getting that car to the rear wing of Jarno Kausch. Definitely the most exciting battle on the racetrack at the moment. There's Levine to the outside, gets a really big run out of the chicane into the hairpin. Gonna do the crossover here. Not really an overtaking opportunity here though in the Schumacher S. And he's going to have to lift off here, but he is still right under the rear wing. And look at the run he gets here on the push to pass. To the outside. Whoa! Almost contact between the two of them, but they keep it together. That's unbelievable. I really thought Levine was going to run right into the back of Kausch here, but look at the run he is getting again. And I think Jarno Kausch has really burned up his tires trying to keep up with Nunez. And Levine to the outside now for the chicane. He's going to have to brake really late and deep. Oh! They squeeze it through and Levine bounces off the curbs like a pogo stick and keeps it together. But wow, what a defensive drive by Jarno Kausch to hold on to that spot. But it did cost them over a second on that last lap though. And now Karel Stout is going to have a look at this position as well to get onto the podium. Karel thinking about a launch up the inside as Jack James and Patrick Silvassi battling for position, trying to look on the timing screen where they are. There they are, side by side. Silvassi trying to gain back the spot he lost earlier. A bit of wheel banging because why not? Still side by side. It's unbelievable how long these guys can go side by side. Patrick is there on the inside, Jack. It's a drag race now down into the chicane at the end of the first sector. And this is really giving Nürburgring 2007 with Massa and Alonso. But Silvassi on the inside now for the hairpin as well. Might be a done deal. And yes, it is. Patrick Silvassi up into the 5th position. What a battle again. Second lap in a row. Alright, here we go for take number 2. Levine back on the rear wing of Jarno Kausch. As Silvassi and Jack James continue to swap positions in the background. There they are. Side by side once again. Down the back straight. And Jack James on the outside might regain this position. Patrick going to try to break it in deep. Oh, and a bit of contact there between the two of them, but they also keep it on the road. And Jack James gets back that 5th position that he lost a half a lap ago. But this battle is not done for sure. Oh, as Jack James loses it on corner exit. Goes for a big hit in the wall, and Patrick Silvassi going to take that spot back. But I would assume that is day done here for Jack James. He's going to try to feel the car out. And Jakub Olsen is right there as well. I'm pretty sure there was contact, but it happened so quickly I could barely see what happened there. Let's see if we can find it on the replay machine. Let's go for a ride here with Jack James. That's Patrick Silvassi's on board. There it is. He loses it on the gravel and does get a big hit on the wall. And is his steering straight? I think it just barely is. So he might get away with this one. At least for now anyway. And yeah, his lap times do not seem too bad because he's pulling away from Jakub Olsen again. So great save, I suppose, by Jack James, even though he did hit the wall. His pace definitely not taking any punches there. Looking from the rear wing of Jarno Kausch. Coming to 3 laps to go. Right at the line here. Kausch using a small amount of push to pass. Levine choosing not to do so. And again, Levine really good on the brakes. Definitely one of his strengths. Especially around this course here at the Nürburgring. Where most braking zones are pretty hard and deep. As Stout. Another interested party here. Running right behind those two. And this is really just a race for second, as Luis Núñez has absolutely checked out at the front of the field. The gap is almost up to 5 seconds. And this is kind of what we expected from Luis Núñez at the start of the season. Although an oval is a bit more difficult to do this at, Luis Núñez is definitely showing why he is in the Pro Series. By pulling away, on average, almost half a second a lap in 10 laps time. Kausch a bit wide there through the Schumacher S. Levine going to be right there with him. On the run up to the chicane once more. Coming to 2 laps to go at the line. And Levine is so close, but not quite close enough to launch a dive up the inside in any one of these corners. He needs to get just that tad little closer, and then he is right there to pounce. Let's throw it back to lap 4 of the race. Here is Darren Machabunga around Alaric van den Bos in turn 2. And it's actually a really neat cutback to the inside for turn 3 now. And that's a pretty neat move there to move him up into P8 at the time on lap 4 of the race. On board with Stout. Look how close again Mathieu Levine gets to Jarno Kausch. Having a really big old look to the inside, but he knows that this is not really an overtaking opportunity here on this part of the lap. But here he is. Again, oh, I was going to say again, not choosing to use push to pass, but he is on the button now. To the outside. And Jarno does so well to guide that inside line. Don't count out Stout yet though, as we are on the final lap of the race. Luis Nunez takes the white flag. 7 seconds clear. As Levine to the outside now, Stout looking as well. Kausch again got it at inside, really takes up a lot of room on the inside, but Levine has the right side for turn 2 and on the inside pulls him in front of Jarno Kausch, and that is finally the position for Levine. Is Kausch able to come back though, or is Stout going to mount a challenge on the final part of the lap? As we have to pay attention to the race leader, Luis Nunez, who is a bit up the road from these guys. Stout has a look to the inside, but not able to get anything done there. But yeah, Kausch was trying to set him up a little bit by parking his car on the apex, and that seems to have worked for him. Stout to the inside of Kausch on the final part of the final lap. And Kausch holds it around the outside though. Stout gonna take a look, but not able to do anything. As through the final corner goes Luis Nunez to claim finally his first win of the season after missing out at Texas. Luis Nunez for Nexus eSports wins the first race of the day at the Nürburgring in an absolute dominant drive from start to finish. Although he did lose the lead at the start, he definitely took control of the race after lap 4 and never looked back. As Levine holds on to second, Kausch holds on to third to complete the podium, and Stout finishes 4th, Savassi 5th. So Luis Nunez wins the first race of the night in front of Matthew Levine, Jarno Kausch, Karel Stout and Patrick Silvassi, the top 5. Then it's Jack James, Jakub Olsen, Darren Machabunga, Tijn van der Velde and Alaric van der Bos, the 2 Dutchmen completing the top 10. And then the next and final page of results, we have Kyle Gretsch, Pim van Gastel, Alexander Rogenbach, Oliver Cottam, Robin Pogado, Liam O'Sullivan and Odibe Emmel, the last 4 of which had incidents earlier in the race and were not able to complete the full distance. So the final drivers finishing up their race, and we will talk to Luis Nunez if he is available for an interview anyways. And hopefully everything goes right on the format this week. Of course, if you remember from last week, iRacing had a few issues. And the format we were supposed to have was not actually executed by the sim. But everything should be going to plan here today. So let's sit in the waiting room and see if Luis Nunez is able for if is available for any interviews. In the meantime, though, for those who are new to the channel and new to the league as a viewer, if you're interested, we have the Sprint Series on Thursdays, obviously. The event tonight is the final one before a break week, before we have a 3-round stretch to close out the season in December at Belle Isle, Monza and Interlagos. Now, if you are interested in running the IndyCar Series or the Iconic Series on Fridays or Saturdays, all races and all series are at 3 p.m. Eastern or 9 p.m. Central European time. But the Iconic Series on Fridays runs all ovals in the DW12s. And the iRacing IndyCar Series is also, is running on Belle Isle, and then the final race at Las Vegas is probably an easier way to put it before next season. So if you're interested in joining any of the series, feel free to join the Discord in the description and sign up and get on the road with us. So, Luis, congratulations on your win. After last week's frustrations, I'm sure that must feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, thank you, man. First of all, yeah, my start was terrible because yeah, it was my first time starting from standing here. But yeah, I just put myself a little bit into a trouble after turn one because I've pressed the button and I switch on the pit limiter. But yeah, it was fun for passing the others, and yeah, it was a fun race.
Yeah, you just did a great job by controlling that pace after you took the lead initially. Were you deliberately saving your tires to really go hard at the end, or were you just trying to settle into a rhythm there?
Not really. I was just pushing as much as I could because yeah, just 20 minutes race is. I mean, there's no time for saving tires. And yeah, I feel better every lap. So basically, because I started now this hour before the race for practicing. So yeah, I felt a bit better through the race.
Well, you did an excellent job. Any thoughts, any expectations for race two coming up in just a few minutes?
Uh, just have fun again. It's gonna be fun because yeah, I think I'm starting P10 now. So yeah, a long way to go now.
That is supposed to be the format, yes, but you never know after last week, right?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Hopefully, I can finish the race at least.
absolutely. Well, before I let you go, I'm assuming we'll talk to you again in about 25 minutes time, but just in case we don't, any people you want to shout out before we let you go?
No, not really. Not really.
All right. Well, best of luck for race two in a few minutes, and hopefully see you in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you.
All right. That was your race one winner, Luis Nunez for Nexus Esports. As we have just a few more minutes until we get going for race number two. And remember, the track is going to be a bit hotter. Maybe not so much, but the weather conditions are going to be slightly different. Now, remember, the track temperature in that first race of the day was 21 degrees. And I am pleased to tell you it is exactly the same. So the sky is still cloudy and overcast, which should make for a great race because we saw loads of battles and passing earlier on in the races. In the race. Now, I also want to go back and look really quickly at the start of the race if we can find a few replays. Um, let's see who is a good person to pick, as we do have. Let's check, in fact, how much time we have. 1 minute, so that should be plenty. So let's take a quick look at the start of the race. And there it is, start of the race. As Jakub Olsen already gets hit in the back there by, I believe it is Nodibe Emo. Small bit of contact. As, yeah, blinking out a little bit for sure is Jakub Olsen. With Alaric van den Bos here, and there's the contact with Liam O'Sullivan. I'm really curious to see what happened. Oh yeah, there it is. Nodibe Emel gets hit from the rear, I believe. Did he? It's hard to find, really. Well, we'll take a look at this in a bit, as we have the final few seconds of warm-up. So, getting ready to go here for race number two in just a handful of seconds. So, 6 seconds left in warm-up, and then the gridding process is going to start. So, assuming that the format is all right, let's take a quick look at your starting grid for race number two here, starting in just a second. Now, if you remember, Alaric van den Bos is supposed to start from the pole. So let's see if that is indeed the case. And yes, it is. So here we go. We got the format working finally. So here is a very quick look at your starting grid as everyone is already ready to go. graphic wants to work. I guess it doesn't want to work. There's always something that goes wrong. So here we go for race number 2. Lights coming on the screen. Tijn van der Velde. His grid slot is empty as he is not in the race. So that means a clear run into turn 1 for Alaric van der Bos as he already covers the inside line going into that first corner. As everyone very tidy and cautious first in the first corner or two. Look at the side-by-side for the 3rd spot and the 5th spot in the background. Salvasi with Stout and Olsen with Jack James. 2 side-by-side battles, and Luis Nunez. Where is Luis Nunez? If we can find him. Hello, where is he? There he is. As Jack James gets pushed off the track a little bit there on corner exit. Gonna lose a spot to Jakub Olsen. So Alaric van der Bos maintains the lead from Darren Machabunga, Jakub Olsen in the 3rd spot. Jack James 4th, Karel Stout 5th. And the top 3 from race 1 already passed Nodibe Emmel. Luis Nunez to the inside here for the chicane. On to Jarno Kausch as there's a bit of contact between Levine and Kausch, I'm pretty sure. Levine had to check out for Savasi and Kausch was not expecting it. And yeah, no front wing for Matthew Levine, so race 2 already in shambles for him. As Patrick Salvasi to the inside as well. Does he have any damage or just a bad run off the corner? Hard to tell as Jack James looking to the inside of turn 1 now as well on Jakub Olsen. Very close indeed. As Alaric van der Bos under pressure from Darren Machabunga. Side by side. Darren on the inside for turn 3. Takes the lead of the second race. Alaric van der Bos looking to cross over. And look at the side by side running this reverse grid is causing. As now Jakub Olsen challenging Alaric van der Bos. For the 2nd spot, Stout to the outside of Jack James. And Jakub Olsen up to 2nd. Stout not able to complete the pass just yet, but gets a pretty decent run out of that chicane. As Liam O'Sullivan again with damage to the front wing. He is up into P12 though. So it's an improvement from race 1. But look at this gaggle of cars. That's unbelievably close. As Jack James up to 3rd now. Alaric van der Bos down to 4th. Stout to the inside. Gonna challenge van der Bos. As van der Bos outbrakes himself. Allows Stout through. And here is Luis Nunez. Already up to P6. Getting by Nodibe Emmel earlier in the lap. As Nunez on the button. Pulls clear of van der Bos. Immediately covers the inside just in case. Oh! Stout sending it on the... Kausch sending it on the outside on Nodibe Emmel. Side by side. There's the battle we want to follow. Offline for Emmel. Gonna lose the spot to Kausch. And at the end of the 2nd lap it is van der Bos from 1st to 6th. And Luis Nunez up from pretty much 8th to 5th at the end of that 2nd lap. Back up to the battle for 2nd. Between Olsen and James. James definitely has the speed edge over Olsen today. As we saw in the first race. And Stout is right there to pounce as well. Stout is probably the driver to watch the most. As he is the furthest up the field. But remember, he does have Luis Nunez right behind. As Stout on the inside now. On the push to pass as well as Jack James. But Stout late on the brakes for the hairpin. Sending it in deep and fast. But it's going to cost him on the exit as Jack James is still there. But Stout clearly ahead. And Jack James remembers that the Schumacher race is not really a corner you need to go side by side through. And he recognizes it and gives up the spot forcibly. O'Sullivan up to 11th. But going to lose that spot again to Cotham in just a second. Looking from the nose of Luis Nunez, starting lap number 4 out of 12 in race number 2 tonight. Everybody from 1st until 8th pretty much in a single file line at the moment. No major moves being made at the moment. Emil also getting around Van den Bos just a moment ago. Mashabunga doing a great job leading the race at the moment. The pace deficit not nearly as big as I was expecting to see in this second race, but maybe Stout and Nunez are holding something back. We heard Nunez say that the race is just a bit too short to really save tires, but maybe it is going to come into play here in just a moment as Nunez gets really close to Jack James into the chicane, but James defending the inside and not allowing Nunez through whatsoever. And there is the run down the front straight Stout needed. Picks up the draft. And we might see 2 overtakes into turn 1. Also going defensive to the inside for turn 1. Stout to the outside. Nunez diving it up the inside of Jack James. Side by side, and Jack James holds on for now. Gonna park the car on the apex. Beautifully done there to defend that position. Stout again to the inside of turn 3. Gonna become the outside for this corner here though, but it's gonna become the inside once again for the next one. And if he can hold it there, which he can, this might be his. Sends it in, and Stout clears Jakub Olsen for that podium, second podium spot in second place. Switching our attention back to Luis Nunez on the charge. Already from 10th up to 1st. There he is. Here is Darren, the only independent driver in the top 5 at the moment, doing an excellent job controlling the pace. Not using nearly as much of his push to pass as the guys behind him, as Luis Nunez now doing the crossover, switches to the inside! Oh, he's gonna send it, he's gonna make it! Wow, what a move by Luis Nunez, but the crossover by Jack James for the final corner. And my voice is going already. What an amazing move by Luis Nunez, but he's not able to pull it off completely because Jack James sends it back on him on corner exit. Wow, what a battlefield position, as Jarno Kausch is now an interested party as well. And Jack James defending for his life, but Luis Nunez now has the inside, and now that position is going to be his. But that was an amazing set of action going into the chicane. I was not expecting him to slow down and make the corner, but he did. So move Nunez up to 4th, and we are just shy of halfway in the race. This race for Nunez is not over whatsoever, but so it is for Stout, who is running in 2nd, chasing down Darren Machapunga. And here he is, starting 7th, up to 2nd. Closing the gap. 0.5 of a second. The question though is, how fast can Luis Nunez close the gap to Olsen and then to Stout? Oh, I heard a bit of a tire squeal in the background. Did somebody go around? I don't think so, from the timing tower anyway. And Jack James losing a lot of time now as he has got Jarno Kausch for company in his mirrors. And I really need a second to catch my breath from what happened 2 laps ago into that chicane, because that was insane. That was almost a Max Verstappen style crossover into the brake zone. And he did make the corner. He just lost a little bit too much on exit, which allowed Jack James to come back on him. And I want to see if we can get a replay of that move, because at the moment the gaps are not close enough for any moves to happen right now anyway. Let's see. Yeah, here's the send. Let's see if we can get a bit of a better angle here. So yeah, there it is. Nunez on the outside crosses over to the inside, slows it down for the corner, but overshoots it just barely. Doesn't make the second part of the chicane, and Jack James kicking out the rear end and gets back to the inside. And this battle, as we know, went on for a little bit longer than the front straight, but it is time to head back to live pictures. As Carol Stout to the outside of the chicane. Darren leaving a lot of space, very respectful racing there, as Stout now takes the lead of the race. Can Jakub Olsen follow him immediately as well? Not quite into the final corner, but Stout takes the lead. Gonna immediately try to break the draft to not allow any of the cars behind to mount a challenge into turn 1. Darren to the outside, so does Olsen and Nunez. So the top 4 breaking away a little bit from Jack James. And Luis Nunez is oh so close to Jakub Olsen with 4.5 laps to go now. And this is exactly the kind of racing that this reverse grid is supposed to generate. An amazing battle for that first position in the second race. I hope my mic is still working, by the way. I hope I didn't blow it up. Once again, no scam from Luis Nunez. Gets a big run through the Schumacher S. On Darren Machavung. That's Jakub Olsen, I apologize. Now we'll look from... oh! Luis Nunez has had an off. Made a mistake somewhere. Oh! Yeah, no, that's a bit of moving on the braking there by Jakub Olsen. Unintentionally, but it did put off Luis Nunez, and that might have damaged his front wing as well. So let's take another look here from the onboard. As Jakub Olsen, as we saw, got a big run on Machavunga, trying to have a look, but then crosses back over into Luis, and I think it netcode damaged his wing. I'm not sure if that damage is permanent, but Luis Nunez down to 7th place right now, and I doubt with 4 laps to go he can even crack the top 5 again, considering the gap to even Jarno Kausch is so large. So that's actually gonna kind of spoil the battle for the win here in a way. But Carl Stout finished 2nd to Liam O'Sullivan in race 2 last week at Texas. And suddenly looking for his first win this season. Jack James with a big run on Jakub Olsen. Finding a bit of pace back from his tires that he lost earlier in the stint. As James still on the inside, gonna go late on the brakes and send it in there. Oh, gonna go a bit deep as well. Both cars go off the track. And Jarno Kausch around the outside of Jack James takes advantage and up to the top 5, top 4 already. As Nodibe Emmel, we saw him lose a few spots earlier in the race, but he is back up to 6th. Looking to the outside of Jack James now. Gonna try to look for the exit speed here off the corner, not able to do it. And Jakub Olsen, Luis Nunez gets that spot on Nodibe Emmel. 3 wide down the straight into turn 1. Also a battle for the second position. There's Luis Nunez to the inside of Emil, gaining that top 5 spot. And here is Jarno Kausch, side by side with Jakub Olsen. And Olsen goes off the track and loses the rear end a little bit, which allows Jarno Kausch to take over that final podium spot. And now we can set sail for Darren Machifunga. And if we can look back at this pace from the first race, Kausch has definitely got a significant amount of pace over Darren. 2.5 seconds though in 3 laps. It might be a tall task, but we'll find out in just a moment. As Jack James really falling through the field right now. Nodibe Emil. Oof! Bit of wheel spin there by Jack James. Holds on to the spot for now, but almost. That was almost disaster. If you remember Zandvoort in Season 1. Where Tijn van der Velde lost it coming out of turn 1 and collected a bunch of cars. That really gave me shades to that race. But luckily all these guys make it out alive. Two laps to go from the Nürburgring in the second race of the VOR IndyCar Sprint Series. Luis Nunez to the inside of Jarno Kausch, just up ahead. And we've seen it time and time again. Turn 1 on the inside is not necessarily a guaranteed gain of position. But for turn 3, it just might be. Trying to send it in is Luis Nunez. But Jarno Kausch has been on this planet for longer than today. And he knows that Luis Nunez is going to try to play every single trick in the book. To the outside, Luis goes. And, oh! Luis Nunez dressed his car through, but holds on. Offline, all on the marbles. And wow, what a save that was by Luis. And he sure has been driving mad for at least 3 races out of the 4 this season so far. If you remember back at Texas, he was involved in a few accidents. And again here today. I have to say, a very annoyed Luis Nunez is so fun to watch. He's just skating his car around the track as now Jack James again involved in a battle with Jakub Olsen. Now gaining that spot up to P5 again. So like I mentioned, Jack James lost a bit of that edge earlier in the stint and now seems to have regained it. At least for now, as Olsen sends it back to the outside. Oh! Contact between Nodibe Emil and Jakub Olsen. That's going to ruin both of those guys' races, and that's going to hand the position to Jack James. But contact between Emil and Jack James. Both of those guys had amazing races going as the white flag is out. And again, it is not over until it's over, just like the first race. Karel Stout takes the white flag for one final lap to go. And Darren Machifunga is right with him still. So this battle for the win is not over yet by any means. I have to say, I am absolutely loving the racing in this series. It actually makes me kind of sad I'm not in it. But if you want to get involved, join the Discord. And you can be on the grid with these guys as early as 2 weeks from now at Belle Isle. Final half of the lap for Karel Stout, looking for his first victory in the VOR IndyCar Sprint Series and in the his first victory in the IR18 in VOR period. And in all of that chaos, Luis Nunez is back on the podium. Jarno Kausch and Jack James still running in the top 5. Alaric van der Bos, the old fox, up to 6th position now, getting by Nodibe Emil. There he is, Alaric van der Bos, gaining that spot. Just one more corner to go out of the chicane into the final corner. Karel Stout has, I would say, defied the odds, and he's gonna come home and win the second leg of the Nürburgring doubleheader. Karel Stout is your winner in front of Darren Machifunga. An amazing race by him, and Luis Nunez after contact with Jakub Olsen, coming out of the Schumacher S, comes back home in the third spot. An amazing result, nonetheless, from Luis Nunez, as Liam O'Sullivan here on the back half of the circuit, still circulating, battling for P13. It should also not go without mention that Mathieu Levine challenged back up into P8, getting his wing repaired. Finishes 22 seconds behind the winner. So not too bad of a race for Levine, but of course he would have liked to finish on the podium today. And wow, what an amazing pair of races once again. This sprint series does not disappoint at all. So let's take a look at your finishing results from race 2 here at the Nürburgring. Can we have the overlay, please, Andrew? Andrew, if you're watching, please fix this. We need a button to review the results of the race. You know what? Let's just do this the old-fashioned way. Reload the overlay. There we go. Load. So here are finally your race results. Carol Stout wins it by 0.6 of a second over Darren Machabunga. Luis Nunez comes back home to finish third. Jarno Kausch and Alaric van den Bos gets all the way up into the top 5. Now, were there any penalties in the race? I cannot imagine there were. There must have been a penalty for Jack James because he is scored as 9th on the results. So interesting. So final results as per iRacing. So they are definitely not final. I'll repeat once more. Carol Stout, Darren Machabunga and Luis Nunez the podium. Jarno Kausch, Alaric van den Bos the top 5. Mathieu Levine P6. Patrick Silvassi P7. Pim van Gastel P8. Then we have Jack James and Alexander Rogenbuck in P9 and P10. And then the final page of results is Kyle Gretsch and Odibe Emel rounding off the top 12. Liam O'Sullivan, Oliver Cottam and Jakub Olsen the top 15. And Ruben Pugado and Tijn van der Velde, the final 2 cars and the final 3 cars, Olsen, Pugado and the final Velde all out. So that is an interesting turn of events. And we will have to wait and see what happens there with race control because, well, this is pretty interesting indeed. So let's talk to the winner. Hello, Carol, my friend. Congratulations on a well-deserved victory. Just talk us through the reverse top 10 grid, how that was for you, and also your battles towards the end of the race with Darren.
It was pretty chaotic, to be fair. I just tried to save up as much push to pass as I could because I used up quite a lot going like into third, and then once I got past Darren, I just like used about 2 seconds on the exits, just to keep him behind me, and I saved it all up for the last lap, really.
Yeah, you did an amazing job. I just want to know as well how it felt to go into that reverse grid race because as far as you know it went, we didn't get to see it last week. We know that you finished second there and you won again. Just talk us through the experience of running in these races for the viewers, if you could, of what it's like to run these reverse grid races.
I mean, it's pretty like you also need to kind of strategize it because in the first race when I saw that I was like that they were fighting ahead, I was just taking it a bit easy because I saw that. Because if they would have crashed, and I would have been like a 10th off them, I would have been in it, and then I would have been at the back of the grid. So I was like, yeah, just trying to keep it safe so that I could. And then I obviously gained a position on the grid by finishing in 4th, and then yeah, it was quite a lot of fun, to be fair.
Awesome. Well, it's great to hear. I'll go let you celebrate in just a second, but before I let you go, any sponsors you want to shout out here today?
Yes, I obviously want to thank my parents.
Letting you stay up and race.
Yep. But and then yeah, I want to thank yeah, just my parents really. Always supporting me, like letting me live my dream. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, go out and celebrate. I'm sure you'll sleep well tonight. Final day of school of the week for you tomorrow, I assume. So good luck for tomorrow, and see you in 2 weeks at Belle Isle for the Sprint Series.
Thanks, man. See ya.
All right, see you, dude. So that's your race winner, Carol Stout. And I have to say, those pair of races were absolutely incredible. Now, I'll repeat one more time. If you want to get involved in the series, 2 weeks from now, December 5th, Belle Isle is up on the menu for 2 16-lap races over there. Then to close out the season, we have Monza and Interlagos. So the Discord link is in the description. Feel free to sign up. It is free to enter. All you have to do is submit your liveries and show up to the races. That's all you have to do. So if you want to get involved, again, the Discord link is in the description. Now that's going to wrap it up for the Sprint Series in November. As I mentioned, the next race is in 2 weeks at Belle Isle. If you want to get involved in the Iconic Series in the DW12s, exclusively on ovals, you can absolutely do so as well. The entry fee for that series is free. So there is no entry fee, I should probably say. The entry to that series is free. Gary Gotso and Kyle Clentworth will be on the call for those races, as well as Gary Gotso and Ryan Eric King for the iRacing series on Saturdays. Remember, this week is an off week for those series, as well as the week after that. So those series will all be back in 2 weeks, all running at Belle Isle and in the DW12 case at Michigan International Speedway. So if you want to get involved, head to the Discord link, sign up, and we will get you in the races. So that's going to wrap it up. I want to thank IFS Personal Financial Planning, Lovers Incorporated, and everybody who came out to race today for their continued support of the series. I want to thank everyone else who came out to watch as well tonight. Hopefully you all enjoyed the coverage, especially to you, Bruno Miranda. Did a great job supporting on Luis Nunez, his beautiful car in the chat, and congratulating Stout on the win as well. So thanks a lot, Bruno, for being in chat. Everyone else, we'll see you in 2 weeks from Belle Isle. And hopefully the frame rate didn't tank too much. Apparently I did not change the frame rate. Oops.